Geeks Talk News, and we begin with the trailers from Comic-Con, and the first trailer is Wonder Woman.
I mean, I'm always up for a World War I action film.
Yeah. Is that it? That's what I was saying.
Not many Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman in it.
First, my comment on it, the reason why I liked it first of all is because I didn't really think that she got a big crack at it when she was in Batman vs Superman. I thought she was pushed into it. I mean, I didn't really get a feel of her. This trailer for me, I get a feel of it. I get an idea of what the character is, and it's interesting. Plus, Chris Pine, who I didn't know was in it.
Well, he's in it. He is. And Robin Wright Penn, and Connie Nielsen.
Robin Wright from House of Cards.
Yes.
Yeah, she's on a horse.
She's on a horse.
Okay. And Ewan Brenner as well.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that either. Are you a big fan of Wonder Woman?
I know nothing about Wonder Woman, but I saw, apart from Batman v Superman, but I saw that trailer, and I think you're right. I think that was one of my favourites from the whole Comic-Con wave that came out.
Yeah.
It just seems so different from the other. Even though you might think, okay, it's going back to war, it's DC doing their own, Captain America, the first Avenger. It just seemed different again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it looks a bit fresh.
There's a real solid adventure film to be had in the Wonder Woman mythos.
Yeah, and some of the scenes of the trailers were just the action scenes. They're sliding on a shield.
They did something more than
not in a Legolas way.
They did something more than what I saw of her in Batman vs Superman. That was the thing that kept coming back to us. What I'm seeing here is far more exciting, and yet she had some. On paper, the scenes in Batman vs Superman were quite exciting, but I don't know what it was. That there was good visuals in this trailer. It just looked really interesting.
I was going to say, out of Batman vs Superman, the one character that you really wanted to see more of was Wonder Woman. And I think that when you put that character in the context of that trailer, which is a trailer, we don't know if it's going to, if the film's going to be any good or not. But certainly from the trailer, it seems like they've got, and from the Justice League footage, which I'm sure we'll go on to, they seem to have nailed a tone in terms of what they're trying to do with their films. And they've got, I think, if you look across it, there is a sense of identity, but there are obviously disparate films under the filmmaker. So I mean, Patty Jenkins made Monster,
2003?
13 years ago. I don't think she's done anything since. But I mean, based on the trailer, she's.
To get into it, I suppose it's a sort of brave decision, but it's what they do with comic book movies. They bring in these directors and give them a shot. Well, they've done it before. And back to what you said, Tom, visually, I thought it was a stunning trailer. Then there was a bit of colour. So anything ever about this is super.
Actually, just reminded me of the other thing. There was humour in it, and I'm not opposed to it being. I love the fact that these films are being taken more seriously, and I do feel that Marvel they've nailed the whole sort of balance between humour, and we haven't really seen that with DC in the more recent years, especially with Batman vs Superman, virtually humorless. But there was a nice tone throughout this, and moving swiftly on now. I think that's matched in the Justice League trailer as well.
I was at a wedding on Saturday night and I checked my phone and I saw they had been released online. So I told my wife I was going to the toilet. I had to go 2 flights of stairs, found an empty like a stairwell in a hotel and just sat there and watched it twice. Came back and just went. I didn't actually go to the toilet moment. I watched the Justice League movies. To which she sort of went. I loved it. I mean, I'm more, in terms of the comic books, I'm more DC than Marvel. I really enjoy the Marvel films. But I mean, that just got me really, really excited. I mean, there's a lot of hate for Batman vs Superman, and I didn't hate it. I think inherently tried to find what I liked about it as opposed to looking at the negative side of it. But I think this trailer shows that a lot of the complaints that were levied at Batman vs Superman, as we were saying, the serious tone, the lack of humour, a bit more of a sense of adventure, I suppose, that comes across. There's that scene with Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen, I think it's played absolutely brilliant. And Aquaman, a character who on the page can be slightly comical, comes across very very strong, and I'm really quite hyped for this film now.
Tom, correct me. It isn't actually a trailer, is it?
Well,
it's not
really looks like a trailer to me. Well, they're calling it a sizzle reel,
Well, it's labelled here special Comic-Con footage.
It's not even a sizzle reel, it's
No,
special
it's
footage.
But the sizzle reel comes later.
To be glad it's not a teaser.
Or a trailer tease.
Or a teaser for the teaser's sake.
Someone said, would you like the sizzle grill or the teaser grill?
But you mentioned the two scenes there, and the reason why, to me, it isn't constructed like a trailer, because there are two very prominent scenes that are revisited throughout the footage. The Aquaman introduction scene with Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne, and the other scene with Flash. So it isn't a trailer, because it does keep going back to those scenes. But for the most part, again, it was like a sense of, it feels more comfortable to watch now. There's a lovely little bit of humour going on here, nice visuals, still very dark.
I think it was a good mix. It was a good mix, and I think that's what we probably will see from the film. I don't know yet, but I think they sort of, because of the storyline with Steppenwolf being the villain, they're going to have to certainly have a darker sort of tone, but they need to make sure it's sort of balanced, sort of Civil War, if you like, giving that has sort of lighter moments and certain darker moments.
It's just, I think with Ben Affleck's Batman as well, it's just the tone he brings to it, because it's not like when you have Christian Bale, no one's believing that Ben Affleck is the party boy, taking the girls out on the yacht kind of thing that Christian Bale's Batman will be doing, so they've got to sort of match how he's doing it as well.
One thing that sort of is a little bit of a flaw in this sort of thing is, why doesn't everyone know who Bruce Wayne is?
Why do they know who he is?
Because when he introduced himself to Barry Allen,
The Flash doesn't recognise him.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
right,
like
so he doesn't recognise him.
he's the billionaire playboy.
In this world,
even in
Bruce
Batman
Wayne
vs
is
Superman.
he's like a Richard Branson type character, isn't he?
It's a little.
He's slack on his reporting job there. Who's that guy?
Right, this is the man that doesn't fill his Dropbox full of copy before he vanishes. So
Not a negative, but just something that just.
That was a very good point.
What about you guys then? Because I've obviously not spoken to you both about Batman vs Superman. Very briefly, where do you lean on Batman vs Superman?
I'm right down the middle. I enjoyed some of it, and I just sort of disjointed in parts. Story-wise, and just jumping. Certainly the first half, jumping around all around the place. I'm looking forward to seeing the Ultimate Edition and because there's been a lot of obviously people that's been released in the States saying that it's much better. So I'm looking forward to it to revisit it again, because I haven't revisited it since I've seen it in the set.
I really enjoyed it, and there were some sequences I thought were really good, but so much of it I was just like, I don't care what's happening. And considering how the amount of hype and the amount of trailers I'd seen the trailers, I thought this could be really good. I hope it's really good. And then you watch it, and you're just like, it's not what I wanted. So my problem is now, maybe DC, are they just really good at making trailers? That's what my worry is, because I've seen Wonder Woman and seeing Batman v Superman, seeing the Justice League, all my bad memories of Batman just gone, and I was like, these look really good, and it was like I was before seeing it, so I'm just like, don't break my heart again.
And none of us have seen the extended edition director's cut, whatever we're calling it.
No.
Cool. And the general feedback seems to be it is certainly an improved film. You cannot possibly say that Warner Brothers should have released that because it's 3 hours long and you just can't feasibly say a 3-hour film can be in the cinema like that.
I think the problem is like you look to see what Marvel did with Civil War, which is ostensibly the same thing as two iconic superheroes fighting each other with different ideologies, etc. It's all being orchestrated by villains. It's very similar story, but they managed to do is it about the same length?
I would say so.
So I think they managed to do that far more seamlessly in that 2.5 hours than Zack Snyder did with Batman vs Superman. And I think that's the problem, is the fact that if you've got a 3-hour cut of a film that makes sense, don't cut it down. Warner Brothers should have turned around and said, look, it's 3 hours long, it makes sense.
I'm surprised they didn't say split it in two and let's do part 1, part 2.
So they could have done that, because the thing is, obviously cinema's going by how many times you show a film. So it's 3 hours, put trailers on 3.5 hours. So you're not going to get that many showings in, so therefore it cuts down on your box office, and I appreciate that.
Right.
But surely Zack Snyder or whoever should have said, look, you cannot release this film, it's going to get critically, it isn't cohesive. You know, this is something that I enjoyed the film. I like it despite its flaws. But they should have been ballsy enough to say, look, let's just release a 3-hour film. Because they wouldn't have had all the critical problems and all these issues, or not to the same degree, if this 3-hour cut of the Ultimate Edition is far superior to the one that was released in cinemas.
It's Batman versus Superman. It's Batman and Superman. I think regardless of it would have still also made even if it was 3 hours. I don't think
two of the most successful films of all time are 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Two of the most successful in terms of box office. So to say that a 3-hour film isn't going to do well at the box office is a complete fallacy, because a 3-hour film knocked a 3-hour film off the top spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is why they should have. You should work for one.
And like Andrew said, especially if it's Batman versus Superman at the beginning of it, and that extra 20 minutes of footage makes it a far more cohesive film, which is going to generate a better word of mouth. It's just madness.
I think, I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder certainly didn't want to leave.
No. I think Zack Snyder would make a 5-hour film if they let him.
Yeah.
He seems to really care about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, ultimately, it is a battle between. If you go back prior to Iron Man and you ask someone random on the street, name 2 superheroes, Batman and Superman being the first 2 superheroes. The way that they've invaded pop culture is far greater than any Marvel superhero, and yet when you release the film, which these two can go head to head on screen for the first time ever, it comes out in the way it came out, and it is a shame.
Well, there's more hope for Suicide Squad, which is coming out soon, and then, as I understand, there was another trailer for Suicide Squad released at Comic Con, but I've opted not to view it.
Exactly, yes.
So have anyone seen it?
No, I thought what they'd done was like minute-long trailers for each character.
I think I've seen it.
They just focus on
No,
one
I've
person.
not seen it.
No, I don't want to watch it anymore.
Good. And same with DC, there was also a trailer released for the Lego Batman movie, which I did not watch. Are we all fans of the Lego?
I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest Academy Award travesties of all time, I think.
It wasn't
the Lego movie not being nominated that year.
Yeah, that is just shocking. It was, and the best thing about it was, one of the best things about it was certainly with Annette's Batman, and
Absolutely.
they've certainly done the right thing.
So have you all seen this trailer? Because I've opted to watch this. I will be honest, it does look good, but I don't think as good as Will was in the Lego movie.
Yeah.
What's the comparison? I know, taking the character that dips in and out and is really funny, and then giving them an entire film by themselves.
Get into the Greek.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit like I'm not quite sure if this is really going to stretch out for full length. I hope I'm wrong. It is a good trailer and it is funny, but I'm not entirely sure if this character.
It certainly wasn't as good as the previous 2, but they were teasers.
Which were very strong.
I couldn't get into the first 2 teasers, but I saw that trailer and I was like, oh, okay, that's
I don't think the trailer for the original Lego movie really sold how sort of special and magical a film it was. So it's hard with these sorts of films to really sell exactly what it is with a trailer, I think.
That's fair enough. Kong, Skull Island. Again, I haven't opted to watch this one. Anybody check that out?
Well,
yes.
yeah.
Is it set in the 70s?
That's what it gives a feel that's set in Vietnam. That's in Vietnam type
It's
of
like
feel.
Apocalypse.
But
Now meets a giant
I think it's set in modern day though, isn't it? Because I think it's in universe with Gareth Edwards' Godzilla film.
Right, okay, so that would make complete sense then.
Yeah, I think so. They're building a monsters
Oh, I
universe.
see.
It's going to build Godzilla versus Kong. Rather than remake King Kong again, they've chosen to remake just the first half of King Kong.
and then there'll be Mothra.
Which is the best bit of King Kong.
Yeah.
In any version of King Kong, the best bit is the first half when they're on Skull Island. After that, it's just another monster trashing the city.
Cool. Warner Brothers, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So again, I've seen the original trailer, I've seen the Comic Con trailer. Quite a big Harry Potter fan. Not, I mean, I know the films really well, I really enjoyed them, and I'm looking forward to it. Quite a good trailer. My question to you guys is it controversial to use the John Williams Harry Potter theme in this trailer? Because that theme to me is Harry Potter, it's not the Harry Potter universe. And I think it's slightly misguiding the tone. I think it's
Rogue One uses the Star Wars theme.
but it doesn't use the Star Wars theme, does it really? It uses a Star Wars theme, it doesn't use the Star Wars theme. And that's the difference.
But I think there's so many pieces of music associated with Star Wars.
This is going to sound really annoying. These are the kind of things
I do
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because it's not a prequel, is it? It's a spin-off.
Yeah.
But then so's Rogue One.
But you say Harry Potter universe, like it's the first. It's not. This is the first thing of the Harry universe. So
it just
you know exactly why it's there.
But it needs Harry Potter to survive, so it's got to drive home.
It's that thing whereby that if you had your mind wiped and you walk into a cinema and you see that trailer, well, actually, I've had your mind wiped. Sorry. I mean, if you weren't basically, if you weren't aware, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was a spin-off of Harry Potter. In the, and I hate to use it, was the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah.
Everything's in universe.
We live in a universe.
Then automatically like, it's obviously part of Harry
Yeah, but then they wouldn't use the theme.
Well,
the whole point of the theme is there is emotional trickery for you to have that sort of heart-warming, nostalgic feeling of, oh, it's Christmas, oh, it's Harry Potter. It's not Christmas and it's not Harry Potter.
Give us your Betty!
I see your point. It's like if every Marvel trailer used the Avengers.
Exactly. That wouldn't make any sense.
I haven't seen that trailer. Does it make, apart from the music, does it make any other reference to Harry Potter?
Well, apart from the actual text in the trailer.
Who directed the last 3 or 4 Harry Potters, because he's directing it. So it makes reference to Harry Potter on screen.
Yeah, in the text it is, but not necessarily actually
within the story of the trailer. No.
So I mean, I'm still looking forward to it. I think that's quite good. I'm a bit worried about the Americanization of the story. I think that'll be controlled though, thanks to David. Fingers crossed.
So I've always found the idea of wizardry schools throughout the world quite interesting. When I've read and watched Harry Potter, it's so Hogwarts focused that I've always wanted to see more of that world.
Yeah.
And America has never been. I mean, other schools in Europe touched on in Goblet of Fire, but America has never been touched on at all. So I think that's quite interesting.
Okay. We will see this Christmas the battle of the spin-offs, Rogue One and Fantastic Beasts. Another trailer that came out, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. I didn't actually see this.
It's definitely a Guy Ritchie film. It's definitely a Guy Ritchie film.
All over it.
Okay.
I can't remember the last Guy Ritchie film was. Oh, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Right, okay, Karen.
I actually enjoyed Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Everything is sort of makes noise when it's put in pockets, and everything that's locked makes a big clunking noise, and
the people running in slow motion.
There's a lot of There's a lot of sort of "Hey lads, we're mates and we're and this is King Arthur we're talking about.
Yeah, it's
historical.
Watch it. I would honestly say watch it. I was like,
I can't say it looks bad. Despite all that, I can't say it looks bad. It actually looks like quite a fun film, but it's such a weird take on King Arthur.
You slay.
it is. It's like King Arthur.
Arthur. It's started with an F, really.
Is Brooktop in it?
No, I don't guarantee you.
Jude Law is the only one of his. I think the only person he's worked with previously. Jude Law is a proper sheriff of Nottingham pantomime villain.
I can't think of the actor's name, but he's been in stuff like The Business. He just popped up. I just noticed him in the trailer. He's been in The Business and sort of Costadal Crime, similar type of.
It's Jesus film, this is in there.
Yeah.
But there's a bit in the film where he pulls Excalibur from the stone, which was just.
What?
Yeah.
I know,
It's like in slow motion.
It was like they were. Just watch it.
You slay.
Yeah, they're like a piss up, and there's just the stone with a sword.
Yeah,
he's just having a go. He's like, oh look, this comes out, doesn't it?
You can certainly say there's no magic or fantasy really in the trailer at all.
No, it's bizarre. It's bizarre, but like I say, I can't say it's bad. It does look quite interesting.
Well, I feel like we need to move on from that. So the big surprise for me, but not to everybody at this table, is this. They released a trailer for what is now a sequel, in essence, to the Blair Witch Project. And I'd like to say congratulations to Tom here, who called this months ago.
Wow.
Which is amazing. Because I didn't think you were right. I thought it was a cool theory, but you are in fact right. The Forest is in fact Blair Witch.
So I'm a big fan of Adam Wingard, horror director, and the trailer came out for a new Adam Wingard film, and so I watched it, and it was called The Forest, and it looked really cool. But I thought, this looks a lot like Blair Witch Project. So I sent the trailer to Tom, and I said, this looks a lot like the Blair Witch Project. And ages ago, he was attached to direct a Blair Witch sequel that just sort of disappeared. I reckon this is a Blair Witch sequel. They were like, no, the bollocks.
And yet here we are.
So
not to get the Forest that Natalie Dormer was in.
Oh no, it wasn't the Forest. It was the woods.
Was it
the
woods?
The Forest.
Yeah, because they've been a lot of like tree-themed films.
The Grove, the Men of the Woods.
And what's the one that's in the Japanese or the Chinese forest? Is that
That's the Forest.
That's the Forest. Okay, it is very confusing. But anyway, it's now called Blair Witch.
Yeah.
The trailer I thought was very strong because I don't think time has not been kind to Blair Witch Project. I think people have a very bad memory of it now as well. It's been quite weak.
I remember watching it. We started working in UCI. Well, was UCI cinemas at about the same time, and we had this like a midnight showing, staff showing of Blair Witch. And I remember coming out of it, getting dropped home. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, half 2 in the morning. I remember going to my friend Dilla, and literally that last scene where the camera goes out and he's in the corner just stayed with me. And I've always thought, oh god, that film's really scary. And then the other Halloween, I was sat with my wife and I was like, should we watch Blair Witch? She's like, that's rubbish. I was like, stop! Shut up! It's not rubbish. So we sat down there and I was like, this is awful. This is terrible. It really has.
I've got a huge amount of respect for what it achieved. That's what I'm doing.
It created a genre that is still going nearly 20 years later.
And maybe it's because it's been so spoofed and parodied and everyone knows the look at the camera and you know.
This came out when I was a teenager, and when I was a teenager, me and my father used to go to the cinema a lot together, and we went to see Blair Witch, and I would say I see him probably once every 3 or 4 months now, and I would say every time I see him, he chastises me in some way for taking me to see Blair Witch, because he hated it that much.
It was a lot.
He hated it. But there's on the Blair Witch DVD, there's a fake documentary about the legend of the Blair Witch and about the 3 filmmakers from the film, and it's really, really good. Like really good. I'd recommend it to anyone that's like interested in the film to watch before seeing this. Watch the original film and watch that documentary because it's really interesting. Don't watch Blair Witch 2 though.
No.
Book of Shadows.
Yeah, I assume Book of Shadows is being sort of erased
I was
from.
going to ask that. My next question is that canon now? Is that just being?
Well, the hook to this is it's Heather's brother is going back out to find her. So this is supposed to be real in the same way, whereas the second one was a fictional sequel to what was supposed to be a real film.
Yes,
if that makes sense. This one is supposed to be another batch of found footage.
Yeah, I see.
So her younger brother, who's now grown up and never got closure on her disappearance, has now gone to try and find out what happened to her, and is for whatever reason documenting it as well. So the first film, this film, and the documentary or mockumentary work as a trilogy almost, and you can just ignore Blair Witch 2.
What I thought was interesting about this whole idea of surprise sequel is this is obviously the second time, to my knowledge, this has happened within sort of a year and a half, in that we had the Cloverfield sequel, which, by the way, for me, is still film of the year.
I agree.
Absolutely film of the year.
I love you still got to go out through the place this week.
I can't afford it. Is this a trend now? Because I looked into it and which came first, because apparently the Cloverfield decision was actually after this came
Well, I'd
first.
say this I think it's Adam Wingard. It's one of that new sort of batch of horror directors. I get them all confused, to be honest, because one of them made that film you really like, The Guest.
Ah, yes.
And then one of them made The Sacrament, and I get they're all friends, and I get them all anyway. So it was announced ages ago. I'm talking maybe 2 years ago that he was going to make a Blair Witch sequel. So considering how late in the day 10 Cloverfield Lane was turned into a Cloverfield film, I think this probably was in the pipeline first.
As from what I've read, it definitely was before Cloverfield. I'm just wondering what other surprise sequels.
Well, I think this is arguably more of a direct sequel than 10 Cloverfield Lane is. I would say 10 Cloverfield Lane is more.
It's more a universe.
Yes,
film,
yeah. It's like
rather
a sort of like an anthology, like a Twilight Zone type of thing. Whereas I think this is obviously a direct, references the first film.
Yeah, I mean,
whereas 10 Cloverfield Lane doesn't.
There is an argument now that 10 Cloverfield Lane has been out a while that a lot of people are saying it's actually not even set in the same universe as Cloverfield. Whereas I think when the trailers came out, you assumed it was set during the events of the first film, but with other characters. I think the argument is now that, like you say, Cloverfield is the title of an anthology series like Twilight Zone, and these are now two films within that anthology series that have nothing to do with each other.
Okay, moving on then. Doctor Strange got a second trailer. I have to say, I wasn't terribly keen on the first trailer. I thought there was only these little glimpses of this, these folding cities, and you immediately think of Inception. It's the only thing I took from that trailer was, doesn't it look like Inception? This trailer was a bit more grounded, I felt. You saw a lot more, the visuals were even more impressive. They are very impressive. I knew nothing about the story of the character, nothing about Doctor Strange whatsoever. Help me. Will, what do you know about Doctor Strange?
He's a brilliant surgeon who I think he's in a car accident, or at least that's the comic version, and he gets his hands damaged. So is he going on like a gap year or something?
Yeah,
I can't do my surgery anymore. Rather than become
sort
a
of Batman
consultant.
Bruce Wayne, Batman Begins sort of thing, I think. Yes.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
Rather chosen one, I think is Kate Blanchett's Call, I think. And the thing that I really, really liked was Matt Nicholson.
Yes.
I just thought the introduction, it was good to get an introduction of the villain.
I'm so glad he's not doing a fake American accent.
Yes.
Man's in his voice so that he can do that.
Was Benedict's doing the fake American accent?
And of course, there is the controversy about the casting of the Asian character. Am I right?
Yes.
And that did cast.
Tilda Swinton, yes, because I think the master is supposed to be.
Who would have thought casting a woman in a film would be so, controversial?
There's no precedent for it.
I know. I enjoyed this trailer. I won that hero for this trailer. Very much like this one. I also the joke at the end.
Yes.
About the password to the Wi-Fi. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That was my best.
Didn't see him coming because it's quite a sort of quite po-faced at 2 minutes. So I was like, I can do this. I can walk through like a glass wall.
You get it.
And then just didn't you just throw in a Wi-Fi joke at the end. Good work.
I'll be honest. Doctor Strange is one of few comic characters I know very little about at all, and I really wanted to keep it that way. I really, as much as I love all these comic book movies and everything, I go into them all knowing so much about it already that as much as I enjoy the films, nothing about it seems new or fresh. And I know nothing about Doctor Strange, and I wanted to go in knowing as little as possible. So I've not even watched trailers. I know nothing about it.
I'm only guessing with the gap year talk.
There's exciting thing is it's a start. They're going to bring magic and everything into the map.
Yeah, which they're already starting to do in Daredevil.
Yeah.
On Netflix as well, they're already bringing sort of magic and mysticism into that way.
Yeah, so it's certainly there's a lot. no, I've done the sort of opposite of you. I wish I probably hadn't watched the trailers, but I've sort of looked quite far into sort of Doctor Strange universe, and there's some interesting things that they could do. They could do with it in terms of the film.
The one thing I think is quite interesting is obviously the Marvel films that take place in the sequence in which they, by and large, in the sequence in which they released.
Yeah, I think the only exception is the first Captain America.
So it's within the time frame. So in Captain America Winter Soldier, the agent who turns out to be a Hydra agent, when he's questioned, says he knows about Stephen Strange. So why didn't they know 2 years before the events that lead Stephen Strange on this thing that Stephen Strange is going to become Doctor Strange? Or am I just looking too deeply into it?
No, I don't think you are.
There is a lot of threads in the Marvel Universe, which is to be expected in something as expansive as it is now. I mean, it's across 3 mediums, it's streaming, theatre and TV now. And there is a lot of threads that if you pull them too hard, the whole thing does unravel. But it's nice to have those little Easter eggs, but they do cause problems occasionally.
Moving on from trailers, I was hoping for another trailer I wanted to discuss that didn't come out. Maybe by the time this podcast hits the internet, we may actually have one. We talked about it on our radio show previously. I'm still 8 years old at heart. The thing that stole the Comic-Con, apparently, I'm reading all over the internet, was Power Rangers trailer. No, just the fact they were there. The fact they were there, there's this big cast sort of meet and greet thing. I'm quite excited about Power Rangers because I used to love it, and I know it's a bit of a shit TV show, but I am still quite excited about the film. Lots of stuff come out in the last couple of weeks about the film. Costumes, showing the suits. The suits are 90% real, 10% CG. They've got like this sort of galaxy thing on their chest, and a very radically different design to the original. They've also cast Bryan Cranston as Zordon. Bryan Cranston worked on the show when it first started as a voice artist. There's a nice little sort of loop there. And this has been directed by Dean Israelite. I'm quite excited about it. Does anybody else give a shit?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I've changed since all this stuff has come out over the past sort of month or so. Suits, a lot of talk about it. I'm in definitely. I'm pretty sort of and adding Bryan Cranston to anything is going to make it better.
Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa.
Exactly, and I called this, by the way, ages ago. The one thing they did reveal at the Comic-Con was their new power coins, which look kind of like rocks with crystals in. And the first picture release of the film itself was of Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa with their new staff. And her suit is now green. And if you know the TV show, of course, the Green Ranger was my favourite Ranger, was a bad guy first, and he was from Rita, and I thought, she's green, that's obviously a connection there, and then her staff is a green crystal, and I thought, there's the power coin for the Green Ranger, and I was right, because the thing in the staff is the same as their power coin, so I fucking called that.
We are Power Rangers!
So yeah, I'm quite excited about it. And other things that came out on the weekend with the cast, I saw a lot of interviews with the cast, and I do feel a bit bad, because none of them could say anything. They were really bad interviews because it was all just like, we're all friends and then isn't this cool, but we can't tell you fuck all about anything, so it was really poor. But what they did reveal was that Alpha 5 was a really stupid robot, is in it in a completely different way. So I'm imagining some kind of AI system or something.
Is it going to be like Jarvis from
I'd imagine something like that. They haven't really specified, but he is in it, and also the theme tune is going to be in it somewhere.
Is it going to be covered by Fallout Boy?
So is the soundtrack going to feature 10 different versions of that same song? By various artists.
Well, I'm quite optimistic about it now. It'll be interesting to see how it turns out. It's coming out in March, which is kind of a weird time to come out.
I'm surprised there's no trailer.
I think it was a big surprise over the weekend.
Thought we would get one. But I've read rumours that a trailer's due any week now. A tease at least.
That slightly worries me a little bit. If you can't bring it to Comic-Con with you,
because that's it.
If you're out in March and you can't bring a trailer to Comic-Con, that's worrying.
There's no Comic-Con.
That's hence why the big.
Yeah, to really give it a push.
New York in later in the year.
Maybe, yeah.
I think things need to stop going to Comic Con for the sake of going to Comic Con. Because you were saying they couldn't say anything. The Game of Thrones panel, they've got nothing new really that they can
They
talk
just
about.
went go in to
They released a trailer to say they were starting shooting at Comic Con. That's what
And
Game of
it's like
Thrones did.
Walking Dead just had to talk about the last season cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But no, they have to dance around.
The
each
Walking
issue
Dead
and
had
talk
to
about it.
bring at least
Yeah.
one cast member on stage who isn't in the cast anymore.
Yeah.
Because of a
You just make the decision
So-
not to go. You just
Yeah.
have to leave this. People are not gonna
Actually, this year, 20th Century Fox did not go.
Yeah.
They didn't go because I think they called it before everybody else has realised.
Because they
what
got
can we do with
Rotten Tomatoes thrown for independence.
Yes!
Boo.
I would have flown to Comic Con just to spit in their eye and say thank you for this and that.
The thing is, they kind of go and go, oh, well, we made X-Men Apocalypse and well, what Gambit's sort of in turnaround, and well, they could have gone with the Wolverine. couldn't they?
Just turns
I
around.
mean, when is
Just
Wolverine?
falls
Next summer, I
Next
imagine.
summer, so they could have had
It was
something
talk.
to say
It was
about
talk. It was talk that there might have been footage for.
I think the strangest thing about Comic Con was the fact that I think the first trailer that debuted from Comic Con was one for Snowden.
Yeah.
One of all the films.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Snowden.
this is what's getting ridiculous.
It's in
about
the comic
Comic-Con,
audience,
isn't it?
yeah.
Do you like computers? Here's a computer.
In a strange coincidence, I just discovered that Wolverine comes out the same month as Power Rangers.
Okay.
Not the
So-
same thing though.
Not quite.
So these are the two closest releases of all the Comic-Con movies,
Didn't
apart from Doctor Strange, which
And
is this
Fantastic Beasts as well.
and we've got nothing for either of them.
No, which is kind of weird. I tell you what I did watch from Comic Con, which was really good. And it's nothing new in essence; it's not a new project. But what I did sit down and watch the whole hour was the Q&A with the cast of Aliens, James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd, which was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly
I've got
recommend
it on my
it.
list on YouTube
It's
to watch.
very good. Really enjoyed it, and I also enjoyed the comments from Sigourney Weaver talking about the new film. And not in the Q&A, but James Cameron said in an interview outside the Q&A that he's even read the script and he thinks it's really good. But this is the man that approved Terminator Genesis as a worthy successor to T2.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say that.
You can't trust James Cameron.
Oh, you do anything for a burger, won't you?
He really is. Oh, he's like,
Yeah, so the blonde cat, I said as well.
Yeah,
it's the
it's-
blonde cat.
Because the one that they're also making, was that meant to be Prometheus 2 and now they're calling it Alien something?
Yeah. It was Prometheus 2 until they announced the Neil Blomkamp film, and then suddenly it was
Alien Isolation, first of all.
Yeah. No, that's the video game.
No, there was another title. It wasn't Covenant first. It was something
No,
else.
but it was first of all, it was not an alien. It had a title that wasn't Prometheus, wasn't Alien either. And then once Blomkamp announced his film, they were like, "Oh, this is Alien as well."
It's
This is also Alien,
Okay.
and just confused the shit out of it.
again, that's another 20th Century Fox film that I think they finished filming the Prometheus sequel.
I finished last week.
Yeah, so we've not got anything to show, really.
Apparently not. But this is the sequel that nobody fucking wants. Does anybody on this table want to see a
I
sequel?
want to see what happens to Michael Fassbender's head. Alright? I want to see how he walks around.
I'm not against this sequel. I just wish it hadn't got in the way of Blomkamp's Alien.
Yes,
film. I wish
I'm fully there, yeah.
I want that as soon as possible, and the fact that this has pushed that back irritates me.
By the way, the film was previously called Alien Paradise Lost.
Okay.
If the Blomkamp one takes place in South Africa, no.
Yeah.
I promise
he
you
needs to step away.
I promise you
It's this guy-
they've already said that
Yeah.
Ripley, Sigourney Weaver said the reason why she will do a direct sequel to Alien 4 is that she doesn't want it to be set on Earth. So I promise you that whatever it will be, it will not be on Earth. We've got a mic issue here.
Mic drop.
Because your mic got an erection at the bottom. But yeah, so it will not be. It won't be a sequel to Alien 4, and it won't be on it. I promise you.
I was going to say District 9.
I'm sure it will have a very heavy-handed political element.
He needs to step
And you see him. I liked it.
Yeah.
Chappie, get out of South Africa.
He needs
I love Chappie. I thought Chappie was great.
Oh no!
It doesn't show my opinion.
Yeah.
He just needs to branch out. That's what
Yeah, he just needs to step
It was
away
just-
from his own thing.
Yeah, it was so much like.
Use
Why do you keep going back to the same setting, the same like gangs?
Yeah,
Make a different film.
No,
see what he can do with someone else's material.
Yeah.
If he's that good
I
with
really
it.
I think he's writing it though, isn't he?
Is he writing it? Is it? Yeah, pretty sure.
I think so.
He's involved.
But I think aesthetically, I couldn't think of anyone better to make it.
Yes. Yeah.
I just worry. His political messages work for me in the 3 films he's made, his sort of South Africa trilogy.
Yeah.
But it's got no place in an Alien film.
Have you seen there was pictures released, like concept art that he had actually drawn and
Well,
stuff.
he drew that before
Yeah.
the film. He just did it for fun, didn't he? He just said, "This is what I'd do if I did an Alien film," and Fox went, "Right."
And 2 more brief bits of news before we move on. I just wanted to mention comments from Michael Keaton, who says that he thinks the ship has sailed on Beetlejuice 2, which is probably a good thing.
I think the ship sailed on Beetlejuice 2 in about 1993.
Probably.
We're known as bringing it back though. We're known as bringing it back in Stranger Things.
Really?
Yeah, I've yet to watch that. I'm saving that up.
Stranger Things is amazing.
Yes, brilliant.
We should do a part on that. And the other piece of news I wanted to mention was that the Rocketeer, if anybody remembers it, is being remade by Disney. Did it?
I'm not aware of this.
The first Rocketeer is such a superb film.
I did go and see it.
I know nothing about the Rocketeer.
I can't remember what it's about, but I definitely went to see
It's a
it.
sort of retro future sci-fi.
30s, I want to say 1930s maybe.
Yeah.
It's like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's got that vibe.
It's got that vibe,
yeah.
But there was a lot of that sort of feel in Tomorrowland.
Yes, I was about to say,
I had a jetpack in it for what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.